Welcome to the Stronger, Fitter, Happier podcast. I'm your host Vin, and today I'm discussing the law of attraction and to see whether it has any merit at all, whether it works, whether it doesn't work, and basically my general thoughts around the whole thing. So if you're interested in that, then listen to the rest of this episode. What is going on? I hope you're having a great week so far. So today, it was yesterday actually, I posted something on Twitter, and what I posted was this statement. I said, if you think you're going to have a shitty Monday, you probably will. And the reason why I posted that was because I'm a big believer in mindset, like having a positive mindset leads to positive things, or at least leads to a better day. And often I think people, what they think I mean is like the whole law of attraction thing. Now, I definitely think mindset is important. I think positivity is important. Keeping an open mindset is important. And to some degree, I guess it may manifest good things in your life. I say may because it's not guaranteed. So a lot of people kind of mistake that in terms of like the way I speak and the way I say things. They think I'm a big believer or big kind of advocate of like The Secret and the law of attraction and that sort of thing. So if you're thinking this, listening to this or watching this thinking, what the hell is the law of attraction? I'll explain. So based on Wikipedia, always a great source. That was sarcasm. Sometimes it can be a great source, sometimes not. Anyway, the law of attraction, according to Wikipedia, is the belief that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences into a person's life. So the way that is defined on other websites as well is similarly, and they also talk about energy and like vibrations and that sort of things that usually kind of tend to lead to like hippie thoughts. And that's no offense. I just mean it's not more to the scientific evidence-based community kind of thing. It lacks, like, even on Wikipedia, it says the law of attraction has no scientific basis. So that's what I mean by that when I say things like it's more like kind of leading to the hippie side of things. It's not. I hope you don't take any offense if you do believe in the law of attraction. What this podcast is about is kind of like talking about the law of attraction and talking about it from a practical point of view if you don't believe in that side of things. So I generally think the law of attraction and the idea behind it is a good one. It's a positive thing. It's, just encouraging people to think positively. I do have a big kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a bit of a problem with it. And the reason why I have a problem with the law of attraction, and in the past I've even gone to say things like the law of attraction is bullshit, is because it has this kind of other side to it where people often think of it as like, I'm just going to manifest things into my life. So if you've ever watched a video on it or anything like that before or read any blogs, often they talk about like, say what you want and it will come to you. So like, let's say you want £1 million. I want to earn £1 million, and then the universe will give you £1 million. And I think that side of things is absolute nonsense. Like, you cannot talk to the universe and it give you something in return. You have to work for it. And that's always been my belief in everything. But what I will say is that I genuinely think that if you are thinking positively, like, you're more likely to put yourself in a position to create that kind of what you're asking for, if you get what I mean. So I'll explain. So let's go back to the £1 million example. Now you could just be like, oh, read the law of attraction and I think I'm going to manifest this into my life and go, I want £1 million, and then carry on with your life and do nothing else different. You carry on, maybe you think positively, but you don't really do much else. Whereas if you went, I want to manifest, I want £1 million, and then you kind of went, you thought about that every day, you had that positive mindset with it, and you actually thought of how you're going to create that in your life, and then that kind of focus on wanting £1 million made you work towards getting £1,000,000 and you actively created that in your life and you put the work in, then you've kind of manifested it, but you haven't actually just been given it. You've done the work to get it, if that makes sense. It's like there's this really big example of Jim Carrey, and he wrote like a check to like a big sum of money. I can't remember the exact figure, but it was a big sum of money, and he was a struggling actor, and he wrote a date that he was going to get it by and all these things. And then so he wrote a check to himself for services rendered, I think it was, and he said that he'll be able to cash this check by that date. Now, he was a struggling actor. He was getting movies, but not quite making a break. And then he got Dumb and Dumber. And obviously that film blew up. And he was actually able to cash that check based on the amount of money the film made. And it was in time of the date. Now, you may think that that's, manifestation and law of attraction, but you have to remember what he did in between was not sit on his ass and wait for a film to come to him. He was still actively going to gigs. He was actively applying for like auditions and going through auditions and going through movies. And if he hadn't put himself in a position to be in Dumb and Dumber, then his check would have been ripped up. And you hear these stories, but you only hear the stories that are successful from the people who've put the work in. You don't hear the average Joe who's just said, I'm going to do this, and then you don't hear anything from them because they've not achieved anything and they haven't put in the work. And that's kind of my thoughts on the whole law of attraction summed up, basically. It's all about putting in the work and doing the things rather than the actual, just thinking positively and the thoughts staying in your head. Now, another example of this could be like, say, with the whole coronavirus thing going on right now. So nobody wants to get coronavirus. And the law of attraction talks about like, don't talk about what you don't want. So don't say, I don't want to get coronavirus. You'd say, according to the law of attraction, you would say what you want, which is, I want to be healthy. And that's it. You would say, I want to be healthy, meaning that you would have no illnesses, i.e. coronavirus. Now, let's just say I want to be healthy. I've said it. Now I'm going to be healthy, right? Well, that's wrong. If I just do what I do on a daily basis, there may be a chance where I get coronavirus or get some sort of illness if I don't put myself in a position not to. So, for example, if I think about wanting to be healthy, but do nothing with it, then nothing's going to happen. But if I think about wanting to be healthy and I keep that in my mind and I'm positive and I'm like, I'm going to avoid being unhealthy. So I ate right. I worked out. I avoided like things like touching my face, like the government's advising right now when you've been out and you haven't washed your hands and that sort of thing. If you're, putting good hygiene into place and doing all these things, then the chances of you catching things like coronavirus goes down. And it's not necessarily the law of attraction or you saying that you want to be healthy that's caused it. It's the behaviors that you've done that have caused it. And that's what I want to kind of reiterate again. I've said it twice, 3 times, 4 times, however many times I've said it. I will cut this off in a minute, but that's what I'm trying to get at. Positive thoughts are great and they lead to positive behaviors and lead to positive actions. But remember, you still have to take the action. You can't just create something based on energies and vibes and things like that. You have to be practical. Be positive in your mindset and your spirituality and all of that. But at the same time, apply practical logic to it. Put in the work. Do what's proven to work in terms of like grafting and working hard. And the likelihood is that great things will happen. It's very difficult to be negative in your mindset. And that's what I do like about the law of attraction. It's very difficult to be negative in your mindset and then do positive things and take positive action towards things that you want in your life. It's very difficult to do that. For example, if you said, I want to be, let's use this, like, a lot of people come to us for support with fat loss. So let's talk about fat loss. Like, if you had a negative mindset around fat loss, you said, I am fat, I am overweight, I am this, I am that. You're telling yourself you're something that it almost puts these chains on you that you can't change because your identity is fat. Whereas if you said, I have body fat, it gives you an option to get rid of it. You are not fat. You're saying you have body fat. You carry something. You are able to change that because you can change the amount of body fat you have. So you've automatically said, I have body fat. It's not a negative or positive thing. It's a neutral thing. Now you can say, I'm going to reduce that body fat. It puts your mindset into a positive state. And then you may take actions to help change that. Whereas if you constantly tell yourself, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, nothing's going to happen because you've identified with being fat. You're talking yourself down all the time and your behaviors will not lead to you losing body fat. Your behaviors will probably lead to you staying the same. And that's what happens with these sorts of things. So change your mindset, kind of adjust that thinking around it, and you'll probably take better actions towards the goal that you have for yourself. So that's all I have to say on that matter. So if you wanted to know my thoughts on like law of attraction, not that you asked, but that's what I think about the law of attraction. It's great in theory in terms of like positive thinking, but in terms of practicality, if you don't put in the work, and I'm sure a lot of people who go by the law of attraction do talk about putting in the work, then nothing will happen. So that's what I had to say. And I am done with this episode of the podcast. Very short one. If you do have any things that you'd like us to talk about or anything that you want us to discuss on the podcast, usually they're better when there's two people rather than just me on my own, then do let us know. Email at podcast@bodybeyond.co.uk, and we will love to hear from you. Otherwise, leave us a review, rate the podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, comment, do the whole thing, and we will catch you on the next episode.